Welcome back to the channel. Time to get the grinder out again. These are the essentially scrap parts that came out of the moulds. First set of moulds, obviously there was a lot of damage. The clam is pretty much physically okay, but very scabby. So the bumper's hammered, and so is the bonnet. There's something I want to try. You'll know if you've been watching all the videos, I've spoke about doing an Evo version of the car, of the kit. Some alterations, essentially a different set of side skirts, and it requires these side vents. So I'm going to cut these out of here and use them. This back could be going on Chucky's van, but I'd still need to alter the top and the side vents anyway. So I'm just going to cut these bad boys off and see what they look like on the... And up there, I'll take a bit extra for good luck. I actually might move these. Need to find somewhere to sit you. There's no really good places. I better go and get a mask, eh? So there's a law of attraction quote. When you visualize, you materialize. So I'm visualizing. So that's the vent off the passenger side. This is the side skirt off the driver's side. So essentially taking that off, flipping it upside down and putting it about there. Obviously blending into there. That section there will come down into the bottom of the side skirt. And that section there, there'll be a piece goes onto the door, and to open the door we're going to have to take the bottom corner of the door off, but it's possible to do. Gives you a vent on the side skirt that looks like that, which is the exact opposite. Above it, obviously you've got the driver's side one just above there, where it starts about there, because there's a quarter panel, and then there's a vent going the exact opposite way, so it's like an upside down mirror of that. So that's what I've been thinking about with the... I can show you it on here. No, I can't because the vent's not there. I can show you it on this one. Oh, there you go. That's essentially that, mirrored, coming from there down to there. So that's what I'm thinking for the Evo side skirts, but it will involve reshaping the back edge of the bottom corner of the door, as well as a different side skirt. I'm not doing that now, but I just felt I needed to have a look, see what it looked like, and it kind of looks like that. You can see where I'm going, and that'll just come all the way down into the side skirt there. I like it. I like it a lot. So through here, Matt's now got the doors off, the inner arches are off. Get on, Matt. Looks like there's just the cross members to do. And Tatty's down there, and we're taking the engine out of the Seat. Can't be far off now. How are you getting on, Tatty? These have arrived for Paul's. So these units, what I'm going to do, you can't see it because it's upside down, but I'm going to take the Sierra light unit, take a mould of it. So I've got a fiberglass panel that's the same shape as the Sierra unit, and then I'm going to mount this in the back of that fiberglass panel. Excuse me. So neat. That'll look right good, and that'll give 4 rounds. So it'll be mounted from behind, and then the fiberglass panel I'll just cut. So you'll have the Sierra shaped light there, and then you'll cut holes in the panel to reveal the lights from behind. You won't get much of a reflector on that one, that's the only thing. You'll only get the top and the bottom there. You maybe want to stick another reflector on it, but it will have some reflector on it. Cool. And then you'll have rounds instead of Sierra light. Way cheaper. This is a much more cost-effective way of doing it, because these will be about 25 quid, 30 quid, whereas for the pair, whereas the Sierra lights are £150 each for each unit. So there's 300 quid. 85 quid it cost us for the bulb mount bits, these sections here, and then your bulbs on top of that. So I'll have like nigh on 400 quid just in the tail lights. Whereas these, well, they'll just be way cheaper. So this is a good solution to a problem, because the Sierra lights are also really difficult to get hold of. Like, so yesterday had a major transformation with my car. Obviously the badges was a major transformation. I'm quite enjoying driving about with the ground off badges, because people in traffic are sat looking at us like, what the hell has he done that for? But Jonathan, I still need to do the centre caps. Jonathan changed that wheel bearing yesterday. It's been 2 years of first the diff went, and then when we replaced the diff, I could still hear a noise, and it was the rear wheel bearings, we thought it was this one. We changed this rear wheel bearing, there was still a noise, it reduced it down a bit more. Changed the other one, it reduced it down a little bit more, and I thought it was gonna get rid of it, but it was still there, like pretty bad. So I got Jonathan to take it for a drive, and he says, it's the front wheel bearing. So the rear wheel bearings were knackered, and the rear diff was knackered, but I didn't realise the front wheel bearing was gone as well. I'll put a video that Jonathan sent us when he took it to bit of the noise that the rear wheel bearing was making. Anyway, fixing that has completely changed the way the car feels. It's been 2 years of like a constant drone, hum, sort of horrible noise while you're driving. You couldn't even hear the engine. You didn't know, you felt like you were going 100 mile an hour when you were only going 50, because it was making such a speedy, whirry noise. And yeah, it was just horrible. And obviously changed one thing, changed another thing. I've been chasing it for 2 years, and finally my car is quiet. It's like, it's bliss. What a transformation. It's just so much nicer to drive. It's like it should be. It's a luxury car. It should waft along silently, and it didn't. It was like that. So like, I'll get Coobs to put the video in of the Jonathan spinning the wheel bearing, but yeah, it was knackered. Got the A-team on the job. Still summit, isn't there?
I told him to check that out as well. He doesn't listen at all, does he?
That looks more out than it's been so far. That's definitely out. 100% out. Get the fuck out.
It's out now.
It's out now, it's definitely out now. Thanks, Jonathan. Legend. Knew you'd get it sorted.
5 minutes and it's out.
Yeah, well done.
And an exploded disc.
Yeah.
Should have had eye protection, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So the next conundrum is that what was holding it? Aye. So he hadn't undone that either.
He's got the bolt in there, but he hasn't bothered taking that one out, so it's still stuck in there.
Right. I don't know what else we might need out of here, but I know I need this out of here. What do you think? Do you think we'll get a wheel on that and be able to pull it? Is that hub knackered now, or?
No, if you can get the ball joints back on,
Yeah.
you should be able to get it out.
Right. Okay. Well, you can sort that, and
They'll just need some bolts on
yeah,
the bottom ball joint. As
we'll
long
be
as
able to
it
roll it out. Yeah.
hasn't chopped the arm in half or anything.
Don't think so. Oh, okay. That's brilliant, though. Thank you. So that's the engine out. Tatty's bashed on with it for about not a solid 3 days, and it still wasn't out. So yesterday his main tool of choice was a hammer. But anyway, he had to go, so I went over and got Jonathan, and he had it out. It was almost out. It was kind of hanging out, but there was still a bunch of stuff connected. Right, I'll show you where I'm at. It's nice and quiet in here today. Matt's not very well. Get well soon, Matt. And Tatty's away down to North Wales, doing a job for his mum. So I've been sanding. Still got a little bit of work to do to this. It's amazing how far I've ended up chasing it. Dipping the sill was from there to there, and then this one wasn't as bad, but you've got all sorts of really subtle transitions into there, that angle. It looks almost flat, but it's not. So I've still got a couple of little tweaks. I've got a little low spot in there. think I took that down too much anyway. So that's where I'm at with that. Oh, and I've got the line to put in it as well. And then through here, I've got this one coat of gel coat on with Matt, and then I got a second one here to go and get the kids. So I got a second one after he'd gone, but then it was too late to get started with the fiberglass. So I've got that to do today, and I want to get this the back end of the side skirt finished. And I've been and grabbed some masking paper so I can get this painted up. It's moving pretty good, this. I'm pleased with the progress. It's a shame that I'm having to do so much extra work, or to be honest with you, this would almost be done now. Well, I feel it would be done, you know what how that statement works. But yeah, at the end of the day, it did have to be done because, this is going to be a constant thing of improvement and alterations and stuff and evolution, hence cutting up the old clam. I think this is going to look great. And people will be able to choose as an option. So there'll be two different sets of side skirts available, like these ones, the Evo ones, or the standard ones. Obviously there's a bit of trimming to do and stuff. I need to take that panel out there because I just want that section there, and then that'll blend into the door. And then obviously in behind here, I'll cut that out, which is like, it's ironic really, isn't it? I'm spending ages, I could even do it to the original side skirts really, spending ages working these out, getting that dint out, and I'm literally going to cut all that out because obviously that vent needs to get to the other side of here and into the side vents on the MR2, which obviously there is already a place for them, the setup for that anyway, because they've already got them. So yeah, just get a bit more vents. That'll be 17 vents on the car. While I'm in here, I've done this to the other one as well. This top edge here we extended it, I think, in the original, and we just used, it was just before the mould, so we just used the foam board paper backed stuff that we used for the fences. Essentially it's just another fence, and it's kind of out of the way. Again, it's something that was bugging us because even though I've put vinyl, well I did, on mine to just give it a little bit of a bump stop the panels knocking together, so it covered it over, like you could see rimples in it, It bugged us. I don't want someone to get the kit and look at a bit of it and go, that's shit, because that's what I had to do, and I really don't want that to happen. Obviously you can't please everybody in that, and there might be things that aren't perfect at some point, but makeable perfect, but it's just something that I can do now. So rather than just ignore it, I wish I'd done this. I mean, I'm kicking myself really, because I knew this was here, and I did. I'm sure I put a skimmer filler in it, and then realised like I think the kit with the side skirt was already on the car. I don't know when it was, but for whatever reason, I looked at it and I thought that's going to be an arsehole of a job, and I don't think it looks bad enough to justify doing it, but it did, and I should have known it was gonna as well. Like, a lot of people might not have noticed it even, but like it's maybe weird, but like I got to the point where some of the pictures of it, the ones that Rauer are at the racetrack on that show day, because of the angle of the sun and that, it was it was totally obvious, and for me it's ruined the photographs, because now every time I look at it, all I can see is that. Like now for instance, that once I've seen that in the pictures, I wouldn't even post that picture on Facebook or anything, like Instagram or whatever. It can stay on my phone. But yeah, so I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't do it. Lesson learned, innit? Said I wasn't going to do any more sanding on this channel. It's unavoidable, isn't it? Tell you what, I'll tell you the story while I'm sanding. because this story's come up a few times and I have been meaning to tell you this story. I'm quite proud of it really. It's I consider it some sort of like oddball achievement. So, and it's car related. So there's a bit of tattooing in it as well. I was tattooing, well I was about to start tattooing this lady and I'd drawn on with a pen the design that I was doing. And I can't remember what it was. But all of a sudden, like, I hadn't started tattooing, but all of a sudden so I feel funny. And then the next thing, she's knelt on the floor beside the tattoo bed, like that, like, you know, like a cat being sick sort of thing, like retching but now coming out. I'm running about the place getting like flipping buckets and stuff. It does happen that people like have a bit of a sickie sometimes, you know, like it's the adrenaline there, they get hit with a shit ton of adrenaline and sometimes makes people a little bit queasy. And on the opposite of that, sometimes they get a massive adrenaline drop as well and that can do the same. Anyway, this was weird because I hadn't even stabbed her yet, you know. So anyway, she sorts herself out. I'm gonna have to make some filler. Come over here. In fact, she didn't sort herself out, but she managed to phone her husband. Got absolute carnage on here. One of the best things that Tatty's came up with, he suggested I use these as filler boards, and I was like, get away. Honestly, best filler board ever. It's a little bit heavy. Where was I? Got totally distracted there. I don't know, we got a proper drift on. Right, so yeah, so she's on the floor. Like that, right? And here's me running about. She says she wanted to phone her husband. I gave her the phone, she phoned her husband. Can you come and get us from the tattoo studio? I don't feel very well. So probably got to sort it out a bit and, you know, sat down properly and whatnot. In fact, it didn't. She was still sat on the floor when she'd sat up, but she was on the floor. Her husband comes screeching up outside and he's driving a police T5 and so he comes in. Obviously he's been on duty like her and I says, you know, once he'd like kind of, you know, got her sorted out and that, and I says to him, hey, you can't park there. Because there's double yellow lines there. And he says, yes I can. Says, just because you've got like that fancy car and that doesn't mean you can take the piss and break the law and that. Says, if we've got to abide by the law, and, you know, so should you. And he says, I think I tattooed him as well, so he was a customer. He says, Richard, a law is like a line, and if you step over the line, that's breaking the law, and so the line's got to be very clearly defined. He says, a double yellow line is also a law, and it has to be very clearly defined, not just in legal terms, but the actual line. This is right. So just come and have a look. I think he's got his missus in the car. Whatever, everything was all right by this point. And come and have a look at this. And he takes us out the front and he says, see that bit down there where they've done roadworks? They haven't repaired the line. And see that bit a bit further down where it's worn out or whatever? He says, so that is not a double yellow line. Because a double yellow line in law states that it is two parallel solid yellow lines, and the only place that they're allowed to break is on a drain, and they should have a butt end on either end. So part of this line was knackered and the other end of it was quite new, but then they'd been in and done a repair, but they hadn't put the butt end on for some reason, and it had a break in where it was repaired. So he says, so that line, that entire line from the butt end to the butt end is completely invalid. That is not a double yellow line. So I can park on there. He says, right, so that means I can park on there as well then, doesn't it? I was paying like, I don't know, £1.70 or something a day for parking or whatever. So I started parking on it. And I was driving a Subaru at the time, all like, it was like full wrap with like skulls and on it. So I'm here parking my car outside and the traffic wardens come along and they're not impressed, like, can't park there, I'm going to give you a ticket. I says, if you give me a ticket, I'm going to do a citizen's arrest on you because you don't know the law, so I can arrest you because you're trying to enforce law on me and you don't know what you're doing, so I can flip the table and do it on you. which felt great, because traffic warden, yeah. Says, right. Says, you better check the law. I says, because, honest, you're wrong. Anyway, he did check and realised that he couldn't do a thing. And so every day the traffic went, this is like a road right on the edge of the town centre, like 200 metres off the town centre, facing the castle, with 4 lanes of dual carriageway running past it, and then a fence and its own road, one-way road. People were, I was obviously tattooing people, and some people ask where you park and that, and I says, well, you can park outside. It got to the point where other people had seen what was going on, and that people were parking there and not getting a ticket, because like they're stuck on the dual carriageway, say, in rush hour, sat looking at my shop, and all the cars parked outside with no parking tickets, sort of thing. So it wasn't long before other people, and by this point I had told a lot of people, mind you, it wasn't long before people started parking up, and you'd see them get out the car and they'd like be looking about and that, and scuttle off, like looking back up the road like totally paranoid. And then a couple of days later they're just like parking up, shutting the door and strolling off, because they know now it's going to happen. And so they obviously told a load of people as well. And then all of a sudden, because we don't start till 10, all of a sudden I'm getting to work and the flipping the road's full. So sometimes I'd park on the other side of the road, which then, that's kind of where it got really bad, because then other people started parking on the other side of the road, and then it got to it was only a narrow one-way road, and there was a day where an ambulance struggled to get down the road, and there was people obviously like putting complaints in, and don't want my filler gone off. So there's people complaining, and then the local newspaper came down to check out what was going on. And first of all, they went to see, I think she's called Julie, in the steakhouse next door. And then they came to see me. And when I read the article, it said, Julie says, I don't know what happened. It started off just 1 or 2 cars, and then it turned into an epidemic. And then my bit said, I think it's great. I've been telling everybody. Of course, putting it in the paper made it even worse. It was constant, both sides of the road. I mean, I was back to having to flip in pay £170 in the car park sometimes, or coming to work early. So anyway, it goes in the paper, gets even worse, and then the local MP had to respond to the complaints and stuff. And so he brought it up in Parliament. He must have said something along the lines of, I don't know what's going on. Like, there's people parking everywhere and we can't stop them. I was that close to making a website. I was going to walk around the town, like town centre, and I was going to make a website to tell everybody where all the invalid parking lines were at. So he brings it up in Parliament, and then the Channel 4, I don't know, a TV company channel thing, then gets in touch with me, like wanting to interview us about the parking thing. So they didn't end up doing the interview, but yeah, I started a parking revolution, and it was great, and it lasted like about 1.5 years, and it caused absolute chaos, and it ended up in Parliament. It was just like pressing a little button, and it's like a domino, and it went ding, ding, and every domino got bigger right the way down the line. But it's totally out of control, and I was kind of glad when it was over, really, because it was at such a level of take the piss. It was wild. But I guess it's the old out for now. It's a bit of human nature in there, isn't there? But yeah, I just thought it was hilarious that all of that came from, wow, I didn't have to make too much filler. It came from me taking the piss. and a woman looking like a cat. Yeah, they took quite a while, these. It's just been, like I say, fiddly. It looks simple, but it ain't. Does anybody need any sweaty D in a body shop where there's other jobs going on and that you walk about with your filler going, trying to like offer it to your co-workers and that? Just, do you need any filler? Sometimes they do, you know. To be fair, I know somewhere I'm going to put it. So Jonathan said, how did you get the body line so straight? I thought it was kind of obvious, but I don't think I recorded it, so I'll show you how I did it. Run it right on the edge of the crest. And obviously I've got my marker point there, and I've got my marker point there. So now this one I lost the end, but I can see where it is. Might be worth measuring the other one though. Just gonna go and measure the other one. Yeah, they are both the same. That's all right where it's at. Looks a bit wide, but I can see the filler at the end. You see where it filled in the dip. I was just doubting it a bit because it looked dead wide, but he's getting warm. And then I just ran along it with the blade. Not going too crazy, not digging in too far, but it just gets that edge started. And you can't rub it away, you can't sand it away or anything. It's there and it's a crispy line. Give it a second pass, a little bit harder. I'm cutting it at a bit of an angle, so like what's happening is it's chipping it out on this side, not that side. Way too much. I'll have to do it from this side. Let's see if I can do it with my right hand. Flat battery, but anyway, I grind up to the cut, and as it gets close, the bit between the cut and the grindable edge kind of shatters. It means I don't have to go right up to the edge, you know. So putting that little cut in there just sort of helps not make a butcher up of it, as it were. And I'll run up to the other side and then give it a little clean out, and because obviously building this up, that then becomes deeper than what it's supposed to be. You see, that channel, I need to keep it at an even depth. So I've just rubbed some filler into some little pinholes, a couple of little edgy bits, and I've sanded that out so it's an even channel, slightly too deep, and then filled it. And I'll give it a little bit of sand and it'll be tickety-boo around the edges off and that. You know, I said it was raining. Well, look at this. This is a back car park. That goes all the way around the building. That bin is a foot underwater, the Bernie bin. There's at least a foot of water there, at least. That's sitting on bricks as well. Probably about 1.5 feet of water. Flipping heck. The skies are cleared now, but wow, if that got anywhere, so I'd have had to paddle out the place. I've just come out the front. I'm at the shore. Wow. At least this bit isn't flooded. It'll be flooded right around there.